It's time for you to start with the best boxing manga. No, the best sports manga. No, the best manga. And that manga is Hajime no Ippo. Let's dive into the first chapter and go on this wild journey together, because your life is literally about to change. The story begins with the shy Ippo getting invited to the movies by some baddie in class. Ippo can't believe this. Me? You're asking me? Imagine how socially crippled he has to be to even react like this. If you never get into a social circle, it's super hard to vibe with people naturally. Tough to break the cycle. Unfortunately, Ippo refuses the invitation because he promised to help his mom at the fishing business they own. Like a true man, she's alone and has no one else. Look at him tweaking when she says let's go. He hates every fish in Japan right now. She says you're hardworking, it's a pity. Damn, she wants that salmon, bro. Back off, shawty. After they leave the classroom, they start talking behind his back. Someone says, this guy refused me last time too. Pisses me off. Then someone else says he's the dude who got surrounded by some bad-looking people. Maybe he's the type to get picked on easily. And as they say this, he's completely alone in the classroom packing his stuff. No one else around. The hard reality for many young people, especially introverts. This should give you an idea where this is heading and what type of character Ippo is. This is not the hyper-energetic and charismatic shonen personality. This is real. As Ippo walks home and looks like he's 2 feet tall, someone calls his name. Suddenly, Ippo starts sweating like crazy and greets the person. His name is Umezawa. Ippo makes way for them to pass through. They look like typical delinquent scum who love bullying other kids. Then they say something stinks. Ippo, not even remotely aware of the situation, asks, I wonder what? And then it begins. The dude punches Ippo and says, you moron, you're the one who stinks like a worm. As he says this, Ippo rolls down the steep hill and crashes into the ground. Then Umezawa grabs him by the collar and tells him he made the whole school stink. Bro, imagine being such a piece of shit that you even work after hours as a school bully. When Ippo speaks back and explains that the smell is coming from his business product, Umezawa slaps him twice. And he continues punching the shit out of an innocent person. Just a simple guy on his way home to help his mom with their business. And as he gets smacked around, we see someone running at the top of the hill. That person looks down and seems to notice Ippo getting his teeth punched in. At this point, blood literally runs out of his mouth like water. Then the bully Umezawa says something. If the sun smells so bad, your mom smells just as bad, huh? This triggers something in Ippo. He wakes up and looks fiercely at his bullies. They say, oh, what's that look? Is this his awakening? But no. He immediately folds and starts laughing nervously. I wonder how the bully will react to this. He kicks Ippo in the guts, but it shouldn't hurt too badly because he currently doesn't have any. The bully says, for once show us some attitude. This is exactly why bullies even do it in the first place. A lot of times they are disgusted that you don't even fight back. If you don't stand your ground, it will get worse. Protect yourself at all times. As Ippo eats another shoe sandwich, someone suddenly appears behind him. He literally catches him. As Ippo looks absolutely sus, the new guy says, this is just so cruel. And somehow I feel like this dude might be somewhat strong. He says these fools don't even look strong. He's not impressed by the bullies and their ridiculous Elvis Presley haircuts. He says, stop acting so proud, you morons. And of course they charge him. Ippo almost shits his pants, but the big guy looks chill as hell. Umezawa the bully throws a punch. The new guy dodges and rushes past him. As the other two bums attack him, he vanishes between them like a cloud after a thunderstorm. As they fall to the ground, he says, are you guys cooling fans or what? And look at what he did, bro. He didn't punch them. He did something much worse. He stole their jacket buttons, bro. Imagine you're with your boys and some guy just opens your jacket. You might want to leave town after such an incident. The bullies run away. Ippo passes out. And the big guy says he doesn't want to know him. He says go get beat up and throws him to the ground. Even his savior has enough of him, man. But wait, what's this? Ippo suddenly wakes up somewhere else. So the guy took him with him after all. But where are we? Are these boxing gloves? Ippo wakes up and is completely shocked. He's not just somewhere. He's in the most important place of his life. In a boxing gym. The savior is there too. He says instead of staring blankly, go home when you're back to reality. Damn. But listen to this. I hate those who pick on the weak. But I also despise those who don't fight back after being beaten. So pathetic. Ippo looks visibly hurt when he hears this, because he knows it's true. He thinks about how he got bullied and what the bully said about his mom. and then he even starts crying. This is someone who's completely broken and at the lowest point of their life. What can he do? The big guy has an idea. He draws a face on some piece of paper and sticks it to a punching bag. But Ippo hits it with the most pathetic punch ever. This won't do, bro. The boxer dude gives him a lesson on how to throw a punch. Tighten the gaps, raise your fist to eye level and hit your target with a straight line. And hits. As he says this, he throws an explosive right hand. The first proper punch of this manga. Ippo immediately follows his advice and hits the back. This surprises the whole gym. They didn't expect this. Time for more advice. Step in with some strength. Ippo repeats the step in. At this point, you should know that Hajime no Ippo literally means the first step. This isn't only his first step in his journey, but also the literal first step he makes as a puncher. So let's continue. Once you step in, you twist your hips and your shoulders as well. Ippo goes through the steps one more time. Step in, waist, shoulder. Alright, let's begin. And go! Hit it with all you've got. And he throws a punch that looks like a bison riding a train with the energy of a volcano. The whole gym is shocked. Look at this. Something splattered on the boxer's face. Is that blood? Then he takes a look at Ippo's hand. He says, ouch. And then look at this. His whole fist literally exploded. It looks like he dragged it across the highway on a motorcycle. After the boxer touches Ippo up to check his muscles, he says that although he looks like a weakling, he's got a good muscle build. What did you do to get it, little bro? When Ippo explains the fishing boat business, the boxer says he's got good punching sense. He should use it to beat those guys up. But Ippo is clearly against that idea. Long story short, they talk about boxing and the big guy gives him some boxing highlights to watch at home. At home, he once more thinks about the bullies and apologizes to his mother in thought. If he were stronger, he wouldn't let them say those things. But now it's time to watch the tapes. Because this is where something changes for Ippo. He sees the highlights of Mike Tyson, who was also bullied as a teenager. He says, was he really reborn? He's become this powerful. I wonder how he feels now. And now the biggest and most important question of this whole manga. I wonder how it feels to be strong. The next day, Ippo ambushes the boxer at the riverbank, exactly where he was beat up yesterday. He greets the boxer as Takamura. He thanks him for the tapes. And then Ippo explains that he wants to be a pro boxer as well. He says Tyson was reborn. He wants to be like that. But this doesn't sit right with Takamura. Him speaking so lightly of boxing after just one day pisses him off. Go back to fishing, little bro. But Ippo is convinced. He's thought about this deeply. He wants to be reborn. He wants to be strong like Takamura. This time, he asks Takamura directly, how does it feel to be strong? This resonates with Takamura, as you can see. He can see that Ippo is serious about this. And now the first challenge in Hajime no Ippo. The first shonen-like quest. Takamura kicks the tree and makes the leaves rain down. Suddenly he goes crazy on them and catches them as if they're $100 bills. And the task is this. Catch 10 leaves and I'm going to teach you boxing. With this, Takamura leaves him under the tree. He thinks about Ippo's motivation and his punch was good too. But he doesn't have the right attitude. He probably won't even make it. It's on Ippo to prove him wrong. He begins his quest and tries to catch the leaves for the whole day up until midnight. And even during the next day again until nightfall. And as he goes insane, he remembers Takamura catching the leaves. And then he realizes something. The sound of his fist was different. And his stance was more relaxed too. Is this the solution? He throws another punch and we move on to the next day. This is the third day. It's been so long that Takamura doesn't even remember giving Ippo this quest. He says, waiting for me? You have something for me? Ippo says, come on. Today is the promised day. Takamura can't believe this shit. Does this dude really have no friends? 3 days under a tree is absolutely wild. But no time for fooling around. Let it begin. Look at Ippo going ham on the leaves. He looks like a Dragon Ball character. And long story short, he manages to catch the 10 leaves. What's crazy is that Takamura meant 10 leaves with both hands, but Ippo did it with one hand only. Pause. And suddenly Takamura is amused. He says Ippo is a weird guy, but they might make an interesting boxer out of him. And thus begins the story of the boxer Makunochi Ippo. The first step starts now.